Hi, so this is a very different video from everything else I've been doing. This isn't a gaming video, I'm just going to put some footage up and I'm going to talk about stuff. So as you can tell from the video name, the whole basis of this video is I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on the Godzilla 2014 Bryan Cranston movie, my thoughts on the Godzilla franchise, and my predictions on what the new movie is going to be. Because in 2 days I'm going to be watching the movie in theaters on Saturday at the making of this video, and basically I'm going to record right now my predictions before watching it. I have no idea anything about it other than what I've seen in the trailers and what I've heard from the rumors. So all I really know is that King Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra, and Godzilla are in it. 11 from Stranger Things is in it. It looks amazing from the trailers. Claire de Lune plays in the background, and there's a weird cover of Blue Oyster Cult's Godzilla from Serj Tankian on lead singer System of a Down. So that's really all I know. So I'm going to just start off by saying I absolutely love Godzilla. I'm a humongous Godzilla fan. Ever since I was little, I watched Godzilla movies. I have an entire collection. I'm looking at it right now. Several DVDs, several Blu-rays. I'm still missing quite a few Godzilla movies. And I'm not like a humongous fan where I know the names of everyone who plays in them and I know the directors and everything. I'm just a big enough fan that I actually, understand the Godzilla lore. So when I heard that Godzilla 2014 starring Bryan Cranston was going to be coming out, I was very excited since they weren't really showing what Godzilla looked like. At the time, I didn't actually get to see anything about Godzilla really. In the trailers, they didn't really show much. But my final synopsis of Godzilla for 2014, I liked it. I know a lot of people really didn't like it because they were like, "There's not enough Godzilla." But if you're a big Godzilla fan or if you watch enough Godzilla movies, you know that that Godzilla's really not in it very much. The whole basis of the movies are usually Godzilla does this, and then you see him for about 7 minutes in total of the movies. I don't know if that's the exact number, but there's a lot of Godzilla movies where he doesn't appear much. Now, I really liked it. A lot of critics had mixed feelings, but overall, a lot of people liked it. So I'm very glad. I thought they nailed it. I thought Bryan Cranston was good. I thought the trailers were deceiving. I think that it was on purpose, though. They made Bryan Cranston look like he was the big main character, and he really wasn't. I'm gonna say now, I'm probably gonna spoil 2014's Godzilla in the rest of this little video thing. So I'm just not gonna hold back anymore. If you don't want 2014 Godzilla spoilers, then just go ahead and watch that. You could probably buy it for like $5 at Walmart. I think it's in the $5 bin at this point, but it's a very good movie. They nailed it. Just everything about it. They fixed everything. It was so much better than Matthew Broderick's, which really isn't hard to do. And just the entire movie, Godzilla's redesign is awesome. The Mutos were some really cool monster designs. I know a lot of people weren't exactly fans of Mutos, saying, "Oh, it's just like Gigan," or "Oh, it's just Mothra." They do have that type of look, but the main reason why is because Toho wouldn't give them the rights to the other monsters. They wanted them to prove that they can make a good movie, and because of that, we got this movie, which is going to have Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra, all who have new redesigns, and I will get into that later. But yeah, my thoughts on Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, or Bryan Cranston's Godzilla 2014, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Has problems, but I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I love all the Godzilla movies, so when I heard that this one was going to be coming out, I got really excited, especially since I like the Bryan Cranston one. And looking at the trailers and everything, I'm noticing that it's going to be, to me, I think it's going to be heavily influenced from Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, which is, I'm not sure if it's the first one. I'm not that big. You see what I mean? I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan. I don't know exactly what was the first and what wasn't, and I didn't do research because I'm just going in this blind. But basically, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster was one of the first Ghidorah entrances. I know that he had about another movie, which was the Astro Monster or Monster X. They all have different names over the years. It's kind of confusing, but Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster had Rodan, Mothra, Godzilla, and Ghidorah, and all of them were kind of fighting each other. And then Mothra kind of talks Godzilla and Rodan into working together, even though they hate each other. And just this once, they're going to team up to fight Ghidorah because he's so much stronger. So it's a pretty cool idea. The movie's really campy. It's got the classic tropes from Godzilla movies, the main bad guys have sunglasses and they smoke, that type of thing. But it's still a really good movie, and I have a feeling this one's based on it because it has the setup of those three characters. And I don't know, these are going to be my predictions right here, basically. My predictions are that I have two predictions. Either one, Rodan and Ghidorah are going to be the main bad guys, and Mothra and Godzilla are going to be good guys. Because I think Mothra is going to be a good guy, and Godzilla's been confirmed to be a good guy. So I think they're going to work together to fight Rodan and Ghidorah. Or two, they're all going to fight each other, and it's going to lead into the same ending of Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, where all of them team up and fight Ghidorah. So those are my two predictions. My other prediction, or my other theory, is that I think Eleven may be playing another psychic girl. She has some weird connection to Mothra in the trailer, but she also has a lot of scenes where she's with Rodan and Ghidorah, so I'm wondering if maybe there's some weird connection to her in some way. Godzilla looks amazing in it, as always. Just the entire movie looks great. And this is what I'm most excited about, is that even if the movie is disappointing on the level of being a Godzilla movie or just being a good movie, the one thing I can guarantee about it is that it's going to look amazing. The visuals in the trailers alone just look spectacular. Like, the colors pop, the scenes just look amazing. I think that a lot of it is just going to be very good. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. I liked Kong Skull Island, which is kind of set in the same Monsterverse that's going on, and that too had some amazing visuals, and that was a good movie. I really liked that one. But yeah, this is gonna come out, and Godzilla's not gonna die. Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah, that could happen. I could see all of them possibly dying at the ending, but Godzilla's not gonna die, mainly because, one, he's too popular, he never really dies, except when he does, like in Godzilla vs. Destroya, when he technically died but really didn't die, and same thing with, like, the original Godzilla in 1985. In Shin Godzilla, okay, so there's a lot of Godzillas where he dies, but in American Godzilla movie, no, he's not going to die, and the only reason why I say this is because it's been confirmed that Godzilla vs. Kong is coming out in 2020, which is going to have Kong from Kong Skull Island and Godzilla duking it out, and I'm very excited for that as well. So, as you can see, I'm not very good at this, because I've never really done this type of video before, but since Godzilla's so dear to my heart, and I have a lot of fond memories of it, and I'm very excited for this movie because I'm watching it for my birthday, I just thought I had to talk about what I would think about it. And that is basically my predictions of what the movie's going to be like. That's my theories, that's my stance on the others. I think the movies were good. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think that's his name. I'm not very good with actors' names. I'm going to say that it's his name. I think he did a good job. I know a lot of people like to poke fun at it, saying like, oh, it's Aaron Taylor Johnson starring Godzilla, but again, watch any Godzilla movie, and it's never fully focused on Godzilla. It always has at least one human character that they focus more on, that type of stuff. But yeah, that's basically what I have to say about these movies. Very good movies. I enjoy them thoroughly, and I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy this thoroughly. So that is my predictions. Those are my thoughts on the previous movies. The rest of the video is going to be me 2 days from now talking about what I thought. So hopefully I think it's good. If not, you'll find out in the rest of the video. Hey, so it's been more than 2 days. On Saturday, I watched the movie. On Thursday, I recorded my predictions. Saturday, I got home very late because I was out celebrating my birthday. On Sunday, I celebrated my birthday with my family, and basically, I've just been so busy with a bunch of other things. Hopefully, I'm going to upload this video today. If it is uploaded on Wednesday, this is going to replace the Let's Play episode because I've been very behind on my Destiny Let's Play. I've been very busy on a lot of other things, but enough with the excuses. Yes, I will address this. I'm sorry for not uploading last Thursday, the Fortnite video, but on Thursday, when I had made this, I didn't have time. Anyways, so I've seen the movie. I saw it Saturday. Today is Wednesday, so it has been quite a few days. So I have forgotten a little bit of it since the initial day, but since no one's in the house, I thought I'd speak at full volume and review this shit. So on a whole, I thought the movie was good. I thought the movie had a lot of problems, but I'm not going to act like any movie is perfect. Would I watch it again? Yes. I think I'd watch this a lot more than the 2014 Godzilla movie, and the reason why is because I think it was made for Godzilla fans. The Godzilla 2014 Bryan Cranston movie felt like Godzilla fans would enjoy it to an extent, but it felt like it was made a Godzilla movie made for main audiences. Like, someone who would watch an Avengers movie could go watch the Godzilla movie and be like, oh, that was good. Whereas someone who's a Godzilla fan would probably get a lot more enjoyment out of this one. I'm not saying that people can't get enjoyment out of it, but for instance, I wrote notes because this is the first time I've been doing these type of videos. One of the notes I wrote was that it has a lot of references to other Godzilla movies, and I'm just going to go ahead and say, past this point, this is going to be spoilers. So if you want my rating of the movie, I give it an 8 out of 10. I would rewatch it. I definitely recommend watching it in theaters. There's nothing like watching this giant destructive monster apocalypse in theaters. It was a very good experience. So yeah, past this point, these are spoilers. You have been warned. Okay. The movie has lots of references to other Godzilla movies. So I'm not going to like fully do a whole synopsis of the thing because I don't want this video to be extremely long, and I'm already rambling so far. But basically, in the movie, to name a few of the references, Mothra actually comes out as baby Mothra, like the larva, like Mothra's children. It shoots out webs and then hibernates and eventually becomes winged Mothra, which is kind of not a humongous reference, but to me, I understood it. Ghidorah is nicknamed Monster Zero, which I know earlier in the video I said it was Monster X, but I think it was Monster Zero and Monster X. But either way, in the movie they call him Monster Zero, and it's like, holy crap, that's a nice reference there. Now, one of the dumber things in the movie is whenever there's a cool reference or a cool scene in the movie, then the guy who does the Verizon commercials ruins it with a terrible joke. So another note I have here, and I completely agree with this, is that it has a lot of Transformers 2 jokes. Like, too many. For instance, one of the jokes in this movie is Transformers 2-esque, because, like, in the beginning, then it's the Monarch people, like Ken Watanabe, his assistant, and Verizon guy. And all of them are at a court hearing because they're being interrogated about, like, why didn't you kill Godzilla? Why aren't you killing monsters? Ken Watanabe's, of course, like, well, these are the balances, let them fight. You know, that whole shtick. But then they have to leave because there's an emergency, aka Mothra appears, like, hatches out of a cocoon and everything, or out of the egg. And the thing is that, like, the Verizon guy says something along the lines of, like, oh, we'll be right back, but until then, go ahead and watch this video on how Mutos procreate. Hopefully the genitals are censored out. And I was like, how is that funny? That's just dumb. A genital joke, very Transformers-esque. It shows a scene from Godzilla 2014, which if you've seen it, you know the Mutos like do this scene where they like start like moving their heads towards each other, like just kind of rubbing their heads against each other. One of them has a nuke in its mouth. It's kind of romantic in a weird way, to me at least. But yeah, basically, they show that and censor it, so they destroy a good scene. Yeah, basically, that's not the only joke. He ruins a lot of the movie when they keep calling Ghidorah Monster Zero throughout it. And then, at one point, they're reading this ancient text thing, because they have this Asian lady, of course, and she's like, oh, they used to call him King Ghidorah, and it's like, oh shit, that's such a good reveal, like, it was a pretty big deal and everything. And then he says, did you see gonorrhea? And they're like, no, Ghidorah. It's like, well, you ruined that moment for Eisen guy. Another scene that I didn't even know was in the trailers because I only watched that one teaser and then my friend told me it was in a trailer, was there's a part where someone goes, oh my god, and the other guy says, Zilla, and I literally facepalmed in the theater. I kind of felt like killing myself at times because it's so bad, like, oh my god. Constantly, there are so many jokes in it that really, really make it feel like it's from a Transformers movie. And there's a lot in this, mainly because I think it's a team of, like, wisecracking jokesters and, like, weird people, that it makes it feel like the 1998 Godzilla. Like, oddly enough, it has a lot of that feeling. Like, they get the main character, the husband, I don't remember anyone's names other than Madison, I think. I think that's what Eleven's name was. But anyways, the main actor, is like an animal studying guy. They get him because he used to be part of Monarch to help them with the whole Godzilla thing. I think they get him because they find out that his wife is captured. The thing is, the last thing you really want to do is involve someone who is emotionally attached to this. Like, at least to me, I don't really think that's a smart move because he's not going to be very logical. He's going to be emotional. And you don't need that in an apocalyptic situation where people can control monsters. I'm not going to summarize the movie. I'm going to assume that you've seen it. This is a spoiler type thing, but it's not an exact full review. It's just me talking about certain parts of it, basically. It's a rant, if you will. So, basically, there's like a lot. He feels like Matthew Broderick's character, where it's like, oh, I study worms, radiation, they're getting bigger. That's my connection. So he felt the same way. Like, oh, I study animals. That's how I'm, part of this team. Which I don't mind this as much as I did the Matthew Broderick thing, because it does. The monsters do feel like they are animalistic. The way Godzilla and all the monsters move and the way they act and the things they do is very animalistic. And I thought that was a really cool choice. The only thing that's not animalistic is Ghidorah, and you do realize later on, and I'm kind of glad they did this, was that Ghidorah is not one of the Titans, which is the name for the kaijus on Earth. He's in fact actually an alien, which I'm kind of glad they did that, because I thought that was a unique thing. It introduces the idea of aliens, which introduces the possibility of Gigan and other monsters. So yeah, basically, I don't mind him because there are parts where his expertise does help. However, there are parts in the movie where when he gives his advice, it feels like Ken Watanabe should have been given it. There's a part in the movie where Godzilla swims up to them when they're in the submarine type thing, and he's like, "Oh, put your guns down and show that we're friendly, and let down the things over the window so that he could see that we're allies." And it's like, okay, I understand he would say that because he's an animal expert, but at the same time, shouldn't Ken Watanabe say that? Because Ken Watanabe has an attachment. He has like an emotional attachment to Godzilla, and actually, he's been studying him for years. So it's like, if anything, Ken Watanabe should have been the one to say that. So I just thought that was very odd. The best scenes and the best actors, and the characters in this movie are Madison, played by Millie Bobby Brown, aka Eleven from Stranger Things. Her scenes are the best thing. She was the most realistic character. She's just an amazing actress, I just gotta say. Ken Watanabe was also a very good actor. I think he was my favorite. He was also my favorite actor in the movie. I feel like a lot of the other actors just were like, they were okay. Like, a lot of the characters' motivations were weird. Like, I understood the husband wanted to protect his daughter and the wife and everything, but then the wife was like, oh, I'm evil now. And I thought that was really dumb. Like, I thought that, like, at first I thought, oh, wouldn't it be interesting if that was the twist? And it was. But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of dumb. Your whole reasoning for this, you want to destroy the Earth, and then just because your child died, it's like, yeah, that's sad. You do realize that if anyone would want, I don't know, it was weird. It was kind of dumb. And then it got even weirder because it's like the main bad guy you thought was going to be the bad guy, who's working with her, isn't even really, his motivation isn't explained. It's just, I want chaos because I'm a terrorist. And I would have liked to actually see more of him. And I know we're going to get more of him because the end credit scene showed one of Ghidorah's head, which was ripped off earlier in the movie, which is also a nice reference to Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah from 1990, or around the 90s. But yeah, basically, I just thought it was I just thought he wasn't an intimidating villain. He didn't have any grip in the story. It would have been better off at that point just not even having him as the main villain, because the trailers and everything make it look like he's going to be a main villain, and I don't even remember his name. I think it had Jonah in it. I don't remember. What else was there? Other references to Godzilla were the oxygen destroyer makes an appearance. It does nothing, which is kind of hilarious because it did so much in the first movie. Also, at the end of the movie, they nuke Godzilla because he gets so injured that he has to hibernate. And I thought this was a cool idea. They nuke him to give him more power, which totally works. And when he comes up, he's actually overloading with power. So very similarly to the movie Godzilla vs. Destroya, he's melting, and everything around him is melting. It's on fire. It is the entire third act. This is like Endgame. This is like Avengers Endgame, where the first two acts are like, okay, the first act, that's a little boring. Second act, that's where it's getting interesting. Third act, everything amazing pops in there. Rodan versus Mothra, Ghidorah versus Godzilla, just everything. Godzilla working with the military, which is something I can't think of a single Godzilla movie where the military has worked with Godzilla. I literally can't think of a single one. Not even the 70s ones. Usually it's like the military fights the enemy monster, but they never like help Godzilla in a fight. Either way, it was amazing. So yeah, he's melting down everywhere. The way he kills Ghidorah is just as badass and over the top as Godzilla 2014 when he killed the Muto by breathing down its neck and just disintegrating it. In this one, he just like disintegrates it with the raw pulsing energy of the fire. It was awesome. It was a little confusing because its head was in his mouth, and I think it was still alive because it's kind of like a Hydra in this, which is a cool idea. So it's like it showed Ghidorah, and he like breathes through it and destroys it. And then the best scene at the end of the movie that made me literally want to stand up and start clapping is Godzilla stands there, and all the monsters that were shown briefly, including Rodan, all circle him and they bow down to him, and it ends there because he's the king of the monsters. And I thought it was so good. One thing I thought that was weird, I thought Ghidorah was good, I thought Rodan was good, Mothra was good, all the redesigns were awesome. At first, I didn't like Ghidorah's European dragon style, but then I realized this is supposed to be closer to an American type of look, and I was kind of glad that they did a new design other than just the Chinese dragon. However, I did feel like Ghidorah in this one, it's not so much that the three heads have one mind, it's like each head has a different mind. The middle is like the leader, the right is like, or I guess in its case, the left is like the goofball. Like it's constantly attacking it, it's constantly moving it. I think it's the first one to actually get its head ripped off because it's an idiot. And I just felt I felt that was weird because it's only that one scene where it does the comedy and it never comes back, and it made Ghidorah feel not so intimidating. Ghidorah is the most intimidating Godzilla monster, in my opinion, because he's so massive and just as strong, if not stronger, than Godzilla. So yeah, how right was I with my predictions? Not very. Millie Bobby Brown doesn't really have a connection to Mothra or any of the other monsters. It's more that the device that her mother created has more of a connection. So it's not like she has a psychic connection, although they do have another reference to the twins, where apparently one of the agents, this Asian lady who works for Monarch, is like, oh, I'm the third generation in someone who works for Monarch. My mother was a set of twins, and my grandmother was also a set of twins. It was kind of a cool reference, because they also say Infant Island on the pictures, so it's like, oh, that's really nice. That's really cool. King Kong is obviously going to be the next movie. The credits kind of show that. I'm just kind of spewing random things as I remember towards the end of the movie. There was so much that happened. There's a weird part where when Godzilla's injured, he kind of goes to Atlantis. I don't think it was supposed to be Atlantis, but I kind of got that feeling because it's an underground, or it's underwater city. It was very odd. And it kind of reminded me of Godzilla versus Megalon, so I don't know if Megalon would be in the future, because it would kind of make sense. They introduced this whole idea of a culture that praised Godzilla that is now under the water, and Megalon was literally Atlantis' savior, so who knows. There were a lot of scenes of humans running from CG. I'm not a humongous fan of that. I kind of thought it was much more ridiculous in those scenes than it was in other movies. Like, one of the dumb parts in the movie is that when they're in a truck, the husband and wife are reunited. They're trying to find Eleven because the whole thing, everything's going down. Godzilla's fighting Ghidorah. Eleven's missing. They're trying to find Eleven because of the chaos that's going on. So then there's a soldier in the backseat because they have like the military, and he's treating a wound on his friend. And the entire time they're fighting, and the soldier's like, if I were her, I'd run away from home too. And then they stop the car. They literally stop the car in the middle of all this chaos, and they say, "What'd you say?" And he repeats it. And then they're like, home, she's at home. And I thought it was the dumbest scene because, one, when you're a soldier, when you're just anyone, you don't do that in the middle of an apocalypse. You have two more things that are important than fighting over this or even focusing on someone else's fight. One, saving your friend who's bleeding out to death, and two, the apocalypse that is going on around you. So I thought that was a very dumb scene, and it's even dumber because they actually stopped the car. Now, a lot of people I've been watching reviews have been saying that the script is not strong. They said the story sucks, the characters suck, and yeah, they kind of do. But can you name a single Godzilla movie that you've cared about the humans? This is the thing with Godzilla movies. Godzilla movies are always mainly focused about the humans who are somehow connected to Godzilla, whether they're chasing after him as like Godzilla researchers, or whether they're working for the military, scientists, or some nerd which the 90s and 2000s Godzilla movies were famous on this, having some nerd character hunt him down using his little technologies. So yeah, I really do think that saying the script is bad is not good. It doesn't really matter when it comes to this. People are coming here for the monster fights, not the script. The script was made as a loose string to keep the whole movie together in a story sense. And I don't mind, because it's not as bad as everyone makes it out to be. And a lot of people are also saying there's too much Godzilla, or too much monster fights, which is bull, because everybody's been complaining about how Godzilla 2014 didn't have enough monster fights. The nice thing about this movie is that if you're not focusing on Godzilla, you're focusing on either Mothra, Rodan, or Ghidorah, and it's not that bad. Like, they do interact with each other, and Godzilla does feel like he appears and has a bigger presence than he did in Godzilla 2014, but it's like, it's interesting because you get to see these monsters. You get an awesome scene where Rodan is hitting all these jets out of the sky. You get an awesome scene where Ghidorah is in a storm fighting Rodan. Ghidorah's entire entrance is awesome. Just everything about it is really, really good. But yeah, it's just the script is a little lame, but at the same time, you can overlook that very easily because the rest of the movie makes up for it tenfold. Mothra dies in this movie. Mothra's kind of famous for dying a lot. A lot of people were pissed because they said Mothra's stronger. It's like, no, not really. Mothra has been known to sacrifice and die in several Godzilla movies, mainly in the Millennial era. In Godzilla Tokyo SOS, I can remember her dying. In Godzilla-King, Ghidorah, Mothra, All Out Monsters Attack, she died, and both times it was to sacrifice herself and give her power to someone else. Hell, even Rodan died in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, and when Rodan died, again, powers, I think, transferred. I'm not exactly sure. So yeah, it is a little confusing. It's kind of funny because a lot of people complain about this, and I do kind of agree, where there's a lot of people who just like point out the most obvious in this movie. Like, the human characters point out the obvious stuff you already know and can see and put together from this visualizations and stuff. But the thing is, like, there's a scene in it where Mothra dies, and then I guess her spirit goes into Godzilla when Godzilla's melting down. And even though Godzilla's melting down, and they said Godzilla's going to die and blow up, and the radiation's going to be crazy, it's like, well, if that's true, then what did Mothra do? Because, like, Mothra puts her spirit in him, and then when he starts killing Ghidorah by melting and stuff, then Mothra's screeches can be heard, and then Godzilla's okay and perfectly fine and survives. So yeah, that's just confusing. There's also a lot of parts in this where, like, they keep on addressing, like, oh yeah, there's radiation all over the place, and yet they go over there without hazmat suits and stuff and are completely fine when I think all of them would be dead. But yeah, my predictions, like I said, were wrong. 11 does not have a connection. This movie is very loosely, not even really based on the original Ghidorah. Ghidorah is the main bad guy. However, Ghidorah ends up controlling all the monsters around the area, including Rodan, to work for it because it's not from this world, it is much stronger, and it's trying to become the new king, that type of thing. It humiliated Rodan by beating the shit out of him. Mothra and Godzilla are good guys by default, and they fight against them. So Rodan, Ghidorah, they're the main bad guys. At the end of the movie, Mothra dies, but stabs Rodan with a cool stinger, which I thought was pretty awesome. And then it kind of felt like Mothra's sacrifice was for nothing because Rodan's still alive, which I kind of figured would happen because the hole was not in the head, was not even close to the heart, it was more in the shoulder. So it's like, I doubt Rodan died, which he didn't. And I'm kind of glad, because Mothra and, well, mainly Mothra just died. And I'm kind of upset, because Mothra was really cool and beautiful in this movie. That's one thing I want to point out, is the visuals, like I said, were the best part of the movie. They only last about 5 seconds, which is the only downside, because I was excited for this movie. I was hyped. I have not been this hyped for a movie since Infinity War. I'm not even going to lie, I kept my hype very low for Endgame. And I'm kind of glad, because I was a little disappointed with the first 2 acts, and then my hype reached maximum and was fulfilled by the 3rd act, which I'm happy about. But I have not been hyped for a movie in so long. And I was super hyped, and, you know, Mothra died, and that's a little sad, because Mothra is a really good Godzilla villain. I mean, Godzilla monster, and that, I'm not saying Mothra can't come back. I'm sure they can find a way that Mothra can come back. But I'm just thinking, like, I don't think that she's gonna come back, which is a little disappointing. Ghidorah supposedly dies. However, at the end credits scene, if you wait for all the way to the end of the credits, you see Ghidorah's head, the one that was ripped off earlier in the movie, is still around, and the main bad guy decides to buy it off of this random person. So it's like, oh snap, that means Ghidorah's going to come back, but not as Ghidorah, as Mecha Ghidorah, which got me very excited, because that gives the possibility of Mecha Godzilla and other possibilities. So, Now I'm going to make a prediction and a theory on what the next movie's going to be. We know the next movie's going to be Kong vs. Godzilla. This is shown obviously through the credits, the references, the poster, the fact it's coming out next year. Like, we've already got we don't have a release date exactly. They said it's coming out next year. And that excites me a lot. However, it also worries me, because Kong Skull Island came out quite a few years after Godzilla 2014, and this movie came out like 5 years after Godzilla 2014, and now Kong vs. Godzilla is coming out next year. That is very soon. I don't know what the future of Godzilla is going to hold. I'm hoping this movie's going to make a decent amount of its money back, because that means it'll be a success. And even if it's not, hopefully they'll make another Godzilla movie other than Kong vs. Godzilla, because I want to see more. Yeah, I really did like this movie a whole lot. So my predictions for Godzilla vs. Kong are going to be that Godzilla's going to fight Kong. Kong is going to be much bigger. We may see, I don't think we will, but I'm going to still make this theory, we may see one of the characters from Kong Skull Island. I don't think it's going to be John C. Reilly, because he was very old in that movie. I think who it could be is possibly Tom Hiddleston. It could be Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson maybe, in older makeup. They could act like older people. Hell, maybe they could even do something weird where it's like Sam Jackson's son, because Sam Jackson was in that movie, but he's not going to appear in the next one for obvious reasons. So, my theory is that maybe one of them, as an older, they could appear in the movie as like main characters. My other theory is Kong vs. Godzilla is going to happen because the two of them are kings. They're going to prove once and for all who the real king is. However, like most of these versus movies, it's not going to be a whole lot of them fighting. I think they're going to fight for a good majority of it. It's going to be a good majority of fighting between the two. But then after that, it's going to be a twist where it's going to be, oh, Mecha Ghidorah exists. It's coming back. It's fighting us, now to team up. And it's going to be an awesome Kong, Godzilla versus Ghidorah. And then they're going to be like, oh, I forgive you, we'll let us go because we just made a truce. So they're going to leave. No one's going to die. Kong's too big of a figure to die this early in a Monsterverse. Godzilla's the main character in the Monsterverse. He's not going to die this early. Unless this movie is going to be the last movie in the Monsterverse, which is a very short Monsterverse, but it would be, if it was the last movie, hopefully it'll end on a high note. If it is, then maybe Kong and or Godzilla will die. But I have a feeling Ghidorah is going to appear at the last second and be like, hey, I'm Ghidorah, I'm going to fight you, and then they're going to team up and fight him. 11, I believe, has been announced to be in that. Ken Watanabe is not going to, because Ken Watanabe sadly died in the movie. His assistant also died. So basically, the original cast of 2014 Godzilla does not exist. The best characters from 2014's Godzilla are dead. Bryan Cranston's character, Ken Watanabe's assistant. I would have even just taken the assistant alone. But it looks like Kong vs. Godzilla is probably going to be the same characters from this one, which means it's going to be 11's father, and the really shitty team of Monarch people that make terrible jokes. So that's not quite exciting. However, the promise of Godzilla fighting Kong in Civilization, or even in Skull Island, is very awesome. And the idea of Mecha Ghidorah coming back would be even better. I am very excited for this. I don't know where it's going to go. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts. My predictions were basically incorrect. Basically all of them were incorrect. And I thought the movie was very good. If you like Godzilla movies, you need to see this. If you like Pacific Rim, you need to see this. If you're just in the mood for like a summer blockbuster action film, just watch it. And if you really, really like visuals, watch this. There are some points, I will say, the visuals are the best, but they're all spoiled in the trailer. All the best visuals are spoiled in the trailer, which is a shame. However, the visuals in the movie are sometimes hard to see. Sometimes it's too dark to see when they're fighting mainly, or sometimes it's too bright to see when Mothra revives Godzilla. It's really weird. It kind of comes and goes, but whatever. Last thing that I can think of last thing. The movie constantly rains. This is another like similarity to the 1999 Godzilla with Matthew Broderick. Is like the movie rains all the time. 99% of this movie is raining. Outside of the first scene and the Antarctica scene, everything else it rains basically. When Godzilla is dying, when Godzilla first appears, everything, there's always rain everywhere. That's kind of annoying. And last thing, I know I said that was the last thing before, but I need to clarify this. The music was amazing. You could tell whoever made this movie, everybody who made the movie, Bear McCreary, something like that for the musician, and the director of the movie, and everyone, actually put their time and effort into putting Godzilla references and taking time in this. This doesn't feel like it's just a movie with the Godzilla brand on it. It feels like a Godzilla movie. The soundtrack is actually remasters and reimaginings with like tribal drums and choirs of the original Godzilla music. It is so cool to see an American Godzilla movie with the Godzilla theme song playing when Godzilla appears. It's amazing. It's the same thing with Mothra and Ghidorah, and even the roars are similar. Mothra at one point literally does the Mothra roar, which is pretty great. Rodan's roar is not very similar to his original, and Ghidorah's not as well. Ghidorah and Rodan have kind of forgettable roars in my opinion. Mothra has some weird roars at times that don't sound anything like Mothra's roars, but then other times you hear directly from the original like sound, which is kind of cool. So it's also kind of like Godzilla, the same exact way. It's like the original roars, but mixed so it's louder and bigger and stuff like that. So, I thought this movie was great. I give it an 8 out of 10. It had a lot of problems, but for what it is so good. It is much better than the Matthew Broderick movie. It is nowhere near as bad as that. It's not as amazing or politically relevant as Shin Godzilla. In fact, they try to do a whole political relevance thing with the mother being like, there's pollution, there's global warming, we're destroying the planet, and, you know, the population, overpopulation. Then I was thinking, oh, that's just the new trend. We need to make every movie a political bad guy. Thanos, 50% of the universe needs to be taken out. Mission Impossible, 50% of the universe needs to be taken out. I'm sure the new Fast and Furious movie is probably going to be the same exact thing too. And who knows, if a Transformers movie comes out, they'll probably be the same thing too. Hopefully they won't come out though. So yeah, for what it is an amazing movie. For a Godzilla movie, it's actually pretty good. It's definitely higher than some of the Godzilla movies that have come out, like the shittier ones, but it's not as high as some of the best Godzilla movies out there. I really do like that they paid so much homage with the sound design, the references, the music. They even, at the end of the credits, actually do in honor of both actors of Godzilla from 1954, that Godzilla, and the Godzilla actor from, I think, the 1970s or 80s on. But they both passed away in 2017, which I actually didn't know, and I'm really sad about that I didn't know that either. But, excuse me, both of them had passed away, and they did in honor of, and I thought that was really nice and sweet. So yeah, all in all, this movie's an 8 out of 10. I cannot recommend this movie enough. I really think you need to see this movie in theaters before it goes out. Whether it's in 3D, IMAX, or whatever, you need to see it. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you really did, tell me to do more of these, because I'll probably do it again. There's a lot of movies coming out in the upcoming years that I am very interested in getting, or in watching, I should say. I'm actually thinking about doing a review type thing on Far Cry New Dawn, which is one of the games I got for my birthday, which I've been playing lately. And sadly, no, I'm not doing a Let's Play of it because I suck at Let's Plays, and honestly, I'm thinking about maybe dropping the Destiny Let's Play altogether. I'm not really sure. Tell me what you think in the comments. But either way, tell me if you like this whole review type thing. Tell me in the comments below, please. I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, Godzilla is back, baby, and he is stronger than ever.